Hi everyone, I'm Pigeon. I'm a very new YouTuber. This is my first video. I really enjoy watching debates about the existence of God, and I've often thought that I'd really quite like to respond to a few of the points raised, so I thought I'd give this a go. I apologise for the quality. I'm currently using my iPad. My computer exploded some time ago, so I've got this thing propped up on a couple of books with a fuzzy travel cushion. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about presuppositional apologetics, mainly the bizarre adaptation of the transcendental argument for the existence of God put forward by Bruggencate and Eric Hovind, who I believe got it from Sci. So for those of you who don't know, Sci is a YouTuber. He is a presuppositional apologist. Now, presuppositional apologetics are a little different from traditional Christian apologetics in that they're starting from their conclusion. For the argument to work, basically, you have to assume the existence of God. So it's a little bit different, and it can actually be a little bit harder to come at these arguments. One could argue that it's because it's a bit difficult to reason with a crazy person, but if we're arguing in good faith, the arguments are a little bit complex, and some of the concepts can be a bit difficult to get your head around. Also, I don't like to accuse people of dishonesty, but often listening to Sci's debates, it feels like he's deliberately trying to trap people. I don't know if this is an intentional tactic of his, or if he's genuinely not understanding that the questions he's asking are meaningless. So Matt Dillahunty from the atheist community of Austin, and a very well-loved regular host of the Atheist Experience, will be debating Sci at the end of May. I'm really looking forward to this. So after I found out about this, I got on YouTube and started watching and listening to a few of Sci's debates. Haven't listened to all of them yet, but they all seem to sort of go the same way. So I've never heard him actually get past the first few questions that he asks. He always follows his script. Mainly because there are so many problems with those first two questions that anyone with any sense recognises this, and then they get bogged down, the debate doesn't really go any further, and then you spend the next hour with Sci just going, how do you know this, how do you know this, how do you know this, which is really frustrating. I'm pretty sure he's trying to prove a point, but doesn't do a very good job. So the first question that he asks, the first part of his script is it possible for all the things you claim to know to be wrong? Everyone I've seen so far, just everyone I've seen or listened to, has answered yes. It's very important to Sci that you answer yes. Leads him to his second question, which is, if everything you claim to know can be wrong, how can you know anything at all? I'm hoping that you've spotted the kind of bait and switch happening here. He's actually talking about two different things. The first question is about things you claim to know. It's about knowledge claims. Now, I can claim to know absolutely anything. I can claim to know that my skin is purple. Clearly my skin is not purple. So I don't actually know that. I may believe it, may be in need of some kind of professional help, but I certainly don't know that my skin is purple, because it's not. The second question addresses actual knowledge. Now, in a previous debate, Sci did clarify what he meant by knowledge, and I actually agree with him here, that for you to actually know something, it has to be true. So I know that I'm talking to my iPad right now. That's actually true, so I do know that. I don't just believe it, I know it. So I'm glad that that distinction was made in an earlier debate, because that highlights the fact that he's asking two entirely different questions. Or, well, they are different questions, but they're addressing different things that are not related in any way. The second question does not follow from the first. So most people spot this, and then everything sort of falls apart, and then there's just meaningless babble for another hour. I've never debated a presup personally, although I might be interested in doing so. But listening to Sci, I have done a little bit of a thought experiment with that first question. Could everything you claim to know be wrong? And I would answer no, that it's not possible. I've not heard anyone answer no as of yet. Like I said, I haven't heard all of his debates, so someone may have. But I would answer no. The reason is because I could still claim to know that I am not the Christian God incarnate. If I'm right about that, then that's at least one thing that I know. So I can know something. If I'm wrong about that, then hallelujah, I'm Yahweh, I'm omniscient, therefore I know everything. So either way, I know at least one thing. So it's impossible for everything I claim to know to be wrong. There will always be at least one thing that I know. Or if I'm wrong about that one thing, then I'll be omniscient and know everything. So I've not heard anyone take this approach before. I'd be really interested in hearing someone do it. I don't know what that would mean for Sai's argument. I haven't really thought that much about it. I don't know how Sai thinks. Obviously, we both reason very differently. He has an imaginary friend, I don't. But I would be quite interested in hearing someone take that approach with Sai. I don't know if his argument would fall apart or if he's encountered this before and he's got some kind of escape hatch or something. Because he seems to rely very heavily on getting that yes from you for the first question, so then he can hopefully get you to admit that you cannot know anything, and, you know, I don't know what kind of mental gymnastics will then lead you to the conclusion that you need God to actually know anything. I would argue that knowledge may not be possible with a God, but that's a subject for a different time. I'm trying to keep these videos relatively short. So, Matt Dillahunty's debating Sai at the end of May. It should be fantastic. I'm really, really looking forward to it. And like I said, you can watch the Atheist Experience right here on YouTube. Highly, highly recommend it. It's very, very entertaining. If anyone has any questions for me, or if anyone's interested in playing devil's advocate and sort of following my train of thought on this presuppositional tag argument, and trying to continue with the argument with a no to that first question, be really, really interested in hearing from you. And remember,